Okay. Well, we're ready to put the last game behind us and move forward to the next one. We know it's going to be a great challenge. We've had a hard time competing with Wisconsin since I've been here, and then really we haven't beat them in a good long while in general here at Purdue. So once again, we'll have another good week of practice, get guys back as healthy as we can, improve upon the mistakes that we made last week and the weeks before, and try to go out there and execute and play at a high level. This team presents challenges for us because they're very good on defense. They always have been. They have a great scheme. They're coached very well. They play hard. They make you earn it. And on offense, historically they've always been great at running the football, big up front, not beating themselves, controlling the clock, and that'll be a challenge.
Hey, Jeff, can you just recollect for us the discovery of Devin Mockobee and just how he got here and to West Lafayette?
Well, I think that we were aware about Devin for a little while, and then we knew he had committed, I believe, to Army or Navy. And, as we're still watching film and evaluating and trying to improve the roster, we just kind of kept looking at him, and he was very intriguing because he had some really good film. And, sometimes you already have running backs committed and not a whole lot of room, and you got to just figure out ways, okay, do we want to investigate and see if we can, interest this young man in coming and walking on? And I believe that we did. There was mutual interest, brought him and his father up, I believe, before I don't remember when it was, but maybe it was before signing day or after signing day, and convinced him to walk on. And really he wanted to be here. He was a competitor. He felt that he could come in here and compete and do a good job in a very humble and modest way. So we were excited about it, and we got him here. We liked what we saw, but we still didn't know for sure that he would be capable of this. And I just think he has proven everybody, how good a running back he can be, especially if he continues to work and get better and bigger and stronger.
At what point did you say, this guy can play for us? Was there ever a moment in a practice or a scrimmage where you said, hey, this guy can really help us, I think?
Well, from the day one when we got here, when we got in game and scrimmage situations, he always excelled. And it was just a matter of, hey, is this because we're not going against maybe our best guys, or sometimes it's not full speed live tackle? But he always had a little bit of something like, where you kind of raise your eyebrows and say, well, this young man may have a chance. And I just think as we continued to practice more and have live scrimmages, he always did a very good job in those scrimmages and ran hard and was productive. So he's earned it from day one, and I just think he's worked really hard, and we're fortunate to have him on our team.
Is he your starter from here on out?
Well, right now he's going to start the next game. We've had King banged up, who kind of sucked it up and made himself available this past game. Kobe Lewis, is available as well. We got to continue to work with him and get him better, but he's working very, very hard. And then Tyrone Tracy has to continue to, be somebody who can do dual things for us.
I know it's a mouthful, Jeff, but do you think that was maybe the best Aiden O'Connell's played for you on Saturday night?
It was a very good game by him, without question. Like I said, the end of last year, he had some elite games and put up some gigantic numbers. But, we definitely thought he played very, very well, executed the offense through accurate throws, had great anticipation, was able to move around a little bit and buy some time a couple times. Of course, the fourth down conversion was huge where, they kind of peeled a linebacker off with one of our backs, and the rest of the line kind of went the other way, and he had a little lane there, and they kind of collisioned some of our crossers, and luckily he was smart enough to know that, it's time to go. And I think he was able to make one guy miss and then go get some yards. So very efficient. Yes, he played very well. And then, of course, at the end, there were some anticipation throws and some accuracy throws that I don't think many guys can make.
You've had a chance to watch the film, evaluate, talk to people. Is there anything you can do to clean up the play in the secondary to limit the big pass plays?
Well, we think so, and we hope so. I mean, I think they're all correctable things. There's kind of a multitude of things. I do think our secondary didn't respect the deep ball as much as they should. We were playing a little bit too tight, a little bit too flat-footed. Didn't give the proper cushion on numerous routes, not only at corner but at safety as well. And then there were just a couple busts as well in the back end that hurt us. So, I would hope that we could correct that, yes. And I think we have experience back there at those positions. Cam Allen, it was not his best game by any means. The week before he played very well, but he can play much better. But I just think he was peaking in the backfield and a little too flat-footed, and of course we can always tackle better. So there's a multitude of things, and yes, when it happens more than once or twice, there's concerns. But we got to fix it, and I think our guys can. They got to believe that they can get it done. We got to give them a better chance as coaches, and we need to be better versus the past.
Any timetable on Chris Jefferson's return, and any update on T. Denson?
Chris' timetable is going to be whenever he's ready, so I'm not for sure on that one. And then T, we haven't seen make a whole lot of measurable progress, so I wouldn't, at this point, count on him for the rest of the year unless we start to see something.
Will Dylan be out another week?
Yes.
Okay. Just how do you go about fixing what happened in the secondary this week?
Well, you got to man up. You got to watch it and analyze it, and identify what our players did wrong, and then you got to identify what we coached wrong possibly, or what did we put in their head that made them think a certain thing that maybe wasn't proper. And then you got to look at the calls and make sure that, are these the best calls? So I do think it was a magnitude of all of those things, which it normally is. And, it's got to be a continued evaluation. We thought we put a better plan together for end of the game, end of the half. Unfortunately, we gave up a draw for a huge gain. We gave up a quarterback scramble for a huge gain. So with that, we need a better second layer of defense at linebacker, and to not allow that to happen. So that was very disappointing once again, to allow them to get a field goal with, 35 seconds on the clock. And it can't happen. So it has to be fixed, and we cannot allow that to happen anymore.
Was there anything about Nebraska's passing scheme that caused you problems, or is it just, as you said, a multitude of problems there from your end?
Well, I think if you look at Nebraska this year, they've been more of a passing team, which is not common for them. But with their new offensive coordinator, they got a couple transfer receivers, they got a transfer quarterback. The running game was not as strong, even though they had the one good running back who had some yards. They like to throw the ball, and that's kind of Coach Whipple's personality. And I think they kind of knew, hey, let's try to chuck this ball over their head. And not only did they hit a few, but they had some other guys open as well that they didn't hit, which was disappointing. And it was all for the reasons that I mentioned. So we've got to do a better job of all those things. And I just think that, they did have a couple good receivers, and the quarterback made some accurate throws. But, our D-line got some pressure and got in there a little bit. We need to be better on the back end and at linebacker in coverage. That was not good enough as well.
Although the teams that are coming up on your schedule would not be known for putting the ball deep in the secondary, all sports are copycat. They see what happened. And so, are you on even higher alert this week to protect against that, knowing that teams are going to try to expose that again?
Well, without question, when you face a team that can run the ball very well, the play-action pass is a concern. So I would think anyone would look at our film and run the ball and then throw it over our head. So, yes, that's a concern, and we've got to put a stop to it and make sure that, like I said, not only are we teaching technique in that correctly? But the calls are putting our guys in the best position to make those plays. And some calls, maybe we need to protect the middle of the field with the middle safety. A couple of those calls, they were running by our two high quarter safeties, which shouldn't happen, but it was happening. And then when we had a inside blitz on, our free safety didn't get enough depth on an easy post play that shouldn't even be there. So, it was just a whole handful of small things that, whether it's being lazy or eyes are cheating, not getting enough depth, not coaching correctly, and not a proper call, we did it all.
At what point did you know that King would be able to play?
Well, he practiced a little bit. We did not think he was at full speed, but last week he was able to practice some. We knew we were going to have him available in an emergency situation if he felt like he could go. And to his credit, he said if we needed him, he was going to be able to go.
What was it like to call 101 plays in a game?
It was a long night. It was a long night, and there were some good moments, of course, and then some moments that were a little more tense. But you just kind of what we tell our players, you kind of have to do as a coach. You got to stay in the moment. You can't look beyond the next play. You've got to just function at your very best as a player, as a play caller, as a coach. You've got to hang in there and hope at the end that you score more than the other team. And I just think we were able to do some good things, and without question, we couldn't finish. We had to hang on. But to our guys' credit, they did play hard. They did give good effort. They do want to win. It meant something to them, and we had just enough to barely squeak by with a win.
Over the last two games, you've produced a handful, or probably more than that, of double-digit scoring drives. You speak to the efficiency of your offense to be able to piece together long drives like that without turnovers or huge mistakes that stop you?
Well, of course, the big plays always help your offense and help you score quicker, and we like to be good at that. We have not had as much success. Now teams are trying to take that away, which I would as well. So you have to be efficient, and I think the combination of the ability to have a sound running game that's efficient and productive, and the ability to have a quick, controlled passing game with an accurate passer, allows you to move the ball down the field. And I just think if you can prevent sacks, which the quick passing game helps do that, which to throw that much and not give up sacks is a credit to our offensive line and quarterbacks and everybody. And you can prevent negative plays and interceptions, you should be in a game and you should have a chance. And I just think we were pretty efficient doing that, and that helped us.
Another interim coach this week. I would imagine there's really no changes that Wisconsin has made defensively, but have you, these last couple games, noticed any tweaks that they've made offensively to help themselves?
Well, I think you're correct. Defensively, Coach Leonard does a great job, always has. Their scheme is tough to go against. They're going to load the box, but play combo coverages and mix things up a little bit to bring some linebackers and drop some ends out and just do things to mess up your protection, but also get guys in passing lanes, and they are very good at it. They've done it for years, and it's a challenge. Offensively, I think they've tried to slightly open up things a little bit and have a little more balance and allow their quarterback to make a few more passes on first and second down. And, of course, against Northwestern, it worked for them. They did a very good job. They had more explosive plays. They got the ball in the receiver's hands as well as being sound running the ball. So I just think not a drastic change, but just slightly maybe a little more aggressiveness on offense that, helped them have a dominant win, and I'm sure they'll build on that.
Yeah, Coach, just wanted to go back to King Drew for a little bit. Obviously, still a little banged up. Just what are you expecting from him, I guess, in this week of preparation for Wisconsin? And with Devin Mockobee as the starter, what can we expect to see from King in a game day situation with him not being the feature guy in the backfield?
Well, King had a pretty severe calf strain that, I didn't know calf strains could be that severe, but as I asked, it's a real calf strain, an injury. So it just has taken a while, and, it's still lingering a little bit and not 100%. So whatever he can give us, we're going to use. But he was not at full strength. And you know what? I think our guys understand practice does matter. And for those guys that aren't able to practice a whole lot, playing in the game is more of a challenge. And yes, while we have to balance doing that some for some of our guys, in the end, a perfect world is they're out there practicing, because the game speed is unlike anything you're going to go against. The pressure to perform, the magnitude of, making great plays every time you're out there, because it all matters, is bigger. So we'd like for King to practice as much as he could, but whatever he can give us, we'll use. Devin, a little nicked up himself. We're going to have to manage him a little bit. He ran a lot of plays, and to his credit, he was out there yesterday doing the small things we needed him to do, but we're going to have to manage that. And it's just that time of the year. You got to have the perfect balance, have some type of common sense along with football sense to get your guys to the game as healthy as you can with as much practice as they can have.
After the game, you mentioned Andrew Sawinski as a guy who's been stepping up in the receiver room. Obviously, it's been a group that's had its fair share of injuries throughout the year. Just what have you seen from him in practice that's allowed him to make his way to the field and be able to make some plays for this offense in the past couple of weeks?
Well, Andrew has done a really good job. He's been here for quite a while. He understands our scheme and system as good as anybody. You can count on him to run the right route at the right depth every single time and give you great effort. He's got good hands. Don't want to compare him to Jackson Anthrop, but he's just kind of a dependable guy at the receiver position that can do dependable things. We kind of know what his strengths are and his weaknesses are, but he's been reliable. So I think he's just a guy that we trust. We have a lot of young receivers that have some talent. There's probably one or two that we've been unfair to by making them play multiple positions because we didn't know where they would play, and because of it, just sometimes there's some mental bust that, while they may seem small during the course of a game, it can be costly. So we've had that happen a few times, and it's probably half our fault for not isolating them in one position and asking them to do too much, but yet we'd like for them to learn the whole package as much as they can. He just, in that slot position, has a great understanding of what we're trying to do and is in the right spot at the right time, and has vaulted him up to getting quite a bit of playing time.
I think it was after your last scrimmage in the preseason, you seemed like you had some concerns about red zone offense, but you're 30 of 32. One of your failures is taking a knee at the 19. I think you have an.
And why does that count?
I can't answer for that. You'll have to talk to the stat people. You have an 80% touchdown rate on your scores. What kind of solutions have you kind of found there?
Well, when you have concerns about it, it means you're going to work harder at it, and we've worked hard at it. I mean, it always is a concern. That and third downs is a concern. Like, we got to get this first down. We got to get points in the red zone. So we worked hard at it. Tried to have a couple different wrinkles each and every week that we can use. I think having the ability to run it some in the red zone has definitely helped. Things get tighter down there. There's a lot of bodies, and the closer you get in there, the holes to throw it are very small. So I just think studying it, putting it together, calling it and utilizing it, we've all just gotten a little bit better at it. But it was always a concern, and it'll continue to be a concern that we've just got to make sure we have our bread and butter stuff down there, but at the same time, wrinkles every week that are different than what the other team has seen, and that gives them an element of surprise or something that they haven't practiced. And I just think we've been able to utilize that pretty good to this point.
It seems like people are keeping more people back defensively against you to try to take away the deep ball. That's something kind of coming down from the NFL. I think people are doing more of that too. Have you had to adjust as a play caller at all to kind of take what they're giving you a little bit more as opposed to, your natural instinct to want to push the ball vertically?
Yeah, we have, and I think we've tried to do it quite a bit. And even the last game, I felt myself calling a ton of quick passes and quick control passes, and the few shots we have didn't work. One of them was an interception in the end zone. It's a misread, but it's an interception in the end zone, and they were deep. So he should have thrown the ball to the outside. We had a stop route at 12 yards. If the corner's falling off and picking off a pass to the slot, that means the probably outside route's open, but he got locked on to the inside receiver. So yes, you have to have enough different route concepts and ways to get open underneath when teams are playing deep, and that has happened. And when you do get that opportunity to get one-on-one matchups, you got to make it work. You got to call it. You got to see it, and you got to execute it.
Does that help the red zone offense at all, having to kind of work with less space?
Without question, I think being able to stretch the field horizontally, being able to run the ball at different times against those looks is beneficial to get us down in that area. And all those little things have helped us, yes.
Jeff, do you anticipate OC Brothers returning this week? And Charlie was visibly limping late in the game. I know he's gone through a lot. How's he looking for this coming week?
Well, Charlie's banged up again, so we'll try to get him healthy. We'll see how much he can practice. I do think he'll play, but we've got to take care of me more this week. OC, we're hopeful to get him back. We haven't seen him practice yet, so I can't tell you that, but we're hopeful that we could utilize him this week.
Just lastly, can you speak to the number of walk-ons, Jeff, that are contributing? We talked about Sawinski, Mockobee, of course. Aiden came here as a walk-on as well. Even Ben Furtney, just a remarkable number of guys. I mean, is it just coincidence, Jeff? And can you speak to the contributions these guys are making?
Well, we're fortunate to have all of them, and they've all played a vital role. Recruiting is not a perfect science. You do your best to get the best players out there, the best players available. And at the same time, you always have to recruit the best next crop. So I do think recruiting matters at all times, even when you're not recruiting the so-called 5 stars and 4 stars. You got to get guys that you think can play that are being overlooked and give them an opportunity. And we, without question, we look hard at that. We look at it year-round. We're always adding guys before signing day, after signing day, in the spring and the summer, all the way up, and I'm not even talking transfers. I'm just talking, general guys that are out there that want an opportunity to compete. And we've been fortunate to get some guys that came in the program and worked very hard and paid their dues and worked and studied and don't really care where they're ranked, so-called. It's all about how you produce on the field, and they've done a good job. And without question, without those people, we wouldn't be here where we're at today.
More questions for Coach? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.